Before I get into tonight's topic, I want to just address Boston a little bit. If any of you just left, we were just watching the news before we left tonight. They caught the second guy, if anybody saw that. And I believe he's alive, right? Is that what they said?
He surrendered.
He surrendered, right? He was bleeding, but he was kind of getting fragmented in pieces, but they did catch the second guy. And the reason I bring it up is it's kind of hard for us in third dimensional form to really get what's going on. Like, why would somebody put a bag of explosives and blow people up, and they're running a marathon, and it's just a bizarre thing. And this year especially, it's been already a kind of wild year. We had already the one shooting with the children in Connecticut, and now we have this, in Boston. So there's a lot of things going on that we don't really understand. And I think it's hard for us in third dimensional form to really wrap our heads around this and try to make sense of it. And it doesn't make sense, as life doesn't make sense. So it's very important for us to just deal with our feelings and emotions about it, because that's really what it's about. But understand that when you get frustrated I hear people, calling up and they're ranting and raving and they want to kill everybody, and everybody's upset, and obviously it's an upsetting thing. And you saw that little boy that died, and the girl, the sister lost her leg, and it's a horrible, horrible thing. But it's very difficult for us to kind of grasp in third dimension. And it brought me back actually to 9/11, because we, of course, being from New York, and then being in New York City at the time when it happened, and I was actually at the airport, but I remember shortly after that, I remember speaking to a friend of mine who was a psychic intuitive, and she said something to me that I never forgot. And she said, it was interesting, she said, as I was channeling during that whole time, she said how those souls participated in that event. And it was very interesting to hear it that way, to say, what do you mean participate? She said, no, those souls willingly participated in that event because that was an event that will shape the future. So these things that happen to us that don't make sense, because they don't, because of course, you can't make sense of 9/11, you can't make sense of what happened in Connecticut, you can't make sense of Boston. But there's a bigger picture, there's a bigger scope here for us to understand, and even this applies to your own life. Because you may look at your own life and say, wow, all these things happened to me, I don't understand why this happened. For me, my dad got murdered when I was 12 years old. When I was 12, I cannot wrap my head around that. Now I understand it, because I understand how it helped me do this work. But at 12 years old, I don't know what that means. So for us, I think it's important as these things are happening, and unfortunately I think we're going to see a lot of these kinds of things. It's happening all over the world, and we're going through a real transitional period of energy now. So I think we are going to see a lot of stuff going on, good and bad. So it's good for us to deal with it emotionally as it happens, and then also to just allow ourselves to understand it on a higher level. And it helps us, I think, to go forward and understand that there's something happening here that's bigger than us, and it helps us kind of all deal with our emotions and feelings. And I know for the people who do this work and people who are psychics and intuitives, they will tell you that. They will say those souls knew what they were doing, those souls were going here, and these people were ready for this, and they came to have that experience. So again, hard for us to kind of reconcile that in our lives here as people, but it's a very interesting thing. But I just wanted to kind of mention that tonight because it just happened, and obviously it's been on the news all week, and now they just caught this other guy, so we'll see what happens as we go forward, but certainly a wake-up for us. So tonight,